Hi friends! Today I picked a book that I just really enjoy. I have been trying to find more books that I enjoy while we've been at home instead of at school, and I've been trying to think of reasons why I enjoy those books. So some books that I really enjoy are books by the author Eric Carle. I've realized that one of the reasons I really like this book, or the books that he writes, is because of the artwork in them. I really like the artwork that are in his books. And then I also really like the stories that he makes about the different animals in his books. So, I'm going to read one of my favorites, which is A Home for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. "Time to move," said Hermit Crab one day in January. "I've grown too big for this little shell." He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it's a little too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean, but it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. "What if a big fish comes along and attacks me?" he thought. "I must find a new house soon." Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling around inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looks so plain, thought the Hermit Crab. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. "How beautiful you are," said the Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain and it needs you." "I'll come," whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. This book is actually reminding me of the Coral Reef book that we read yesterday. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the sea floor. "How handsome you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to decorate my house?" "I would," signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "How pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. I'm making a text-to-text connection. I'm able to remember this one's talking about coral, and we just read about the coral reef and how beautiful the coral was, and he notices that in this book too. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. "How tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and clean up my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked him up with his claw and placed him near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark in here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," cried the sea urchin. I don't think they like it very much. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at it all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around the shell. Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon, he would have to find a bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They had been so good to me, thought the Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I ever leave them? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I have outgrown my shells, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You're welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to all of my friends. I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked a little plain. But sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there's so many possibilities. I cannot wait to get started. I love this story, and I love how it followed this hermit crab's life throughout a whole year. It talked about who he met each month and all of the friends he had and how he was able to pass those friends on to someone else. My challenge for you is to find a book that you really enjoy. I would love to hear about it.